MacVoices is supported by Text Expander by Smile. Find out just how powerful a few keystrokes can be at textexpander.com. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is the second in a two-part conversation on MacVoices Live with members of the Macworld All-Star Band about their new video, what it took to put it together, what motivated it, and more. So let's get right back to the conversation with our friends.
You casually mentioned how when we would play our gigs, there'd be, 11 cameras there shooting it. As a hack musician, the idea of having one camera at a gig that will be mixed by someone who knows what they're doing is a dream come true. Having 11 cameras, and like the first time you sent us those multicam shots, in fact, I remember it. It was in April after a Macworld Expo that was either in January or March. I can't remember that part, but I know it was in April because I was sitting at my father-in-law's house in Florida when those came. And I remember the chair I was sitting in, and I remember watching the video, and I was instantly in tears. It was like, this is amazing. We just played this gig, and 11 different cameras filmed us, and then you took it all and mixed it together. And there were, probably half a dozen people involved at least. And what a wonderful thing to be able to see. Because as a musician, you never get to see yourself play, especially with multiple cameras. So thank you for doing this project with us, but especially thank you for that.
He's the eighth Beatle.
I know in hindsight, I know it means a lot to people because I still get messages from people saying, "Oh, I was just watching the Cirque du Mac videos last night, and they were really good." And there's so much nostalgia, and it was so special for people. It's great to propagate it and keep it going. And I know Chuck was part of the recording for about 3 or 4 years, did a great job. And I'm going to let you tell the story of this one, Dave, because I think the first time that I came to one of your rehearsal, the rehearsal, that made all the difference, because other times we just showed up on performance night and did the recording. This time we came to rehearsal, and I came and I could actually have a look around the room and think for a little bit, where can we put a camera for best effect? Because we started with 3 cameras and we went up to 5, and I started getting ambitious and said, where else can I put a camera? And I discovered that there was a way of getting behind the band, behind the stage, which is right behind Dave and the drums. There's kind of a curtain there, and you could sneak right in behind and get behind that curtain and shoot back out towards the audience and over Dave's shoulder. And I thought, this is a wonderful angle. So Steve Sheridan, we conscripted him, and he was there in the back shooting at that camera, and it was a fantastic shot. And then next year, Duane mentioned, I thought, I've got a GoPro. Maybe when Duane isn't playing, he could take the GoPro and record. And what a tremendous difference that was, because we got some fantastic reaction shots and the lowdown on the keyboard and facial expressions, and it was just fantastic. But Dave, you've got a story about the camera behind you, especially the ending of the song.
Of this song.
Right.
Yeah. So there was 1 year, and evidently looking back, Steve Sheridan was in this same spot several years at exactly the same time, which is weird. But maybe he knew, that this was a good shot. But if you look back, I think it's the Cirque du Mac 10 video, not the 11 video. At the end of this song, Feeling All Right, Steve was right off my right shoulder. And I knew he was there, but I didn't look at him or anything. And I knew we were coming up to the end of the tune, and we ended the song exactly the same way that we did on the tape, where we end it with a real tight, feeling all right. And I would choke a cymbal. And I'm like, if Steve stays there, there's no way I can communicate with him because he's there filming and I'm here playing. But I was just hoping that he would stay right there. And he did. He kept the shot. And it meant that he had this, this wink from me at the end as I choked the cymbal and just kind of looked at him. And My favorite part about all that, he got a great shot for you, and it was, you know, the money shot of the end of that tune. But my favorite part about it was the look on Steve's face when he realized the shot that he just got. Because I knew he was about to get it. He did not know he was about to get it, you know. And so I told Sky, I said, look, I showed her that video, and then I showed her the next year, whatever the alternate year was, where the end of the song, it was on the front of the band, so you could see where Steve was. I'm like, look, at the end of the tune, you got to make sure you're right here. I mean, my drums are right there. You can't see them. They're just out of frame. But I'm like, you got to make sure you're right here to catch the shot. And she's like, okay, yeah, got it. And obviously she got it. So, yeah. I did not know that I stick my tongue out when I do things like that. So that was a surprise to me.
Now you know,
through
Dave.
Afterwards. That's right.
And so does everyone.
The other thing I've got to mention is Dave sent me a video of late at night, 3 a.m. or something. He is doing a sound mix, and he's there, Logic, at his computer, and decided to turn the camera on and record himself doing the sound mix. And he did this, clapping at the beginning of the song.
Well, it had to be in sync.
And at the end, he's kind of rocking along with the music and finishes with a flourish. And he recorded that and sent it to me and said, whatever you can do with this, it's just something I recorded late at night.
It was perfect.
And I looked at that and said, Dave, you just
the money shot for the whole video.
you just created the beginning and the end of the video. This was absolutely perfect. When he clapped his hands at the beginning, that was the cue to pop the little the frames of the band members on. And at the end, again, it was a natural conclusion. He pointed and then waved his arms again, and it was
triumphant victory. It was working.
Yeah, hooray! We did it. So
that was
well
only
done, Dave.
Ever meant for you. I'm glad you used it in the video. I'm not upset at all, not by any means. But as I was here recording that, sitting right here, it was like, oh, Wally will get a kick out of this, and no one else was ever going to see it.
I was so happy that I never saw that until the video was finished. Right. I had no idea he did that, and I was like, I know I'm biased, but that's like my favorite part of the video by far. Like Dave's bare feet, like dancing around, like it doesn't get much better than that. It's fantastic.
Well, Dave, if you hadn't done that, I would have been stuck for a beginning and an ending.
Yeah,
and it probably would have been boring. Stuff. I would have put a title slide on an ending, but that
I had an idea for the beginning and the ending, and we're sort of doing it now. My thought was, we would get together on a Zoom. Hey guys, here we are, the Macworld All-Star Band. Let's just check in with each other. How's everybody doing in quarantine? And then, one of us would say, like you just said, we should play. And then we cut to Chris on his keys, and off we go.
That's cute too.
I never shared that idea because it never needed to happen.
That would have worked. For our next video, what's our next song, by the way? I hear we're in discussions of what to sing next.
Yeah, no vocals, so it's got to be Freeway Jam.
Okay.
Wally, I don't know if Dave passed on to you, but I told him how I really like the beginning of that as well. And when he turns in his chair, it reminded me of almost, like some TV show, actually almost kind of like the Twilight Zone or something, but, like he was going to talk to the audience, right. And introduce something or something, which he didn't, of course, but it, it really caught me.
and awesome. the look on Dave's face is just like pure joy. I'm with you, Skylar. I mean, it is absolutely not staged. I don't think you can get that expression.
I am
staged.
So happy with this piece of work. I mean, we've got a lot of video of us, and a lot of it is great, and it touches me emotionally. But this not only does that, it's good. It's professional. It's slick.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
My friends that watched it went, wow, I've seen professional people do worse than that. And I'm thinking, well, everybody did this. I mean, it's not like we invented quarantine video, but.
Yeah, but you know what, Bob? I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of us have been seeing things that, are going around social media. The Rolling Stones that Wally mentioned, Sammy Hagar and the Circle have been doing a sort of a series. And so,
of course, Fastball. Well, Miles Zuniga every Tuesday on Facebook. I just sent him $25 because I love fastball.
But
Yeah, I mean,
my favorite fastball moment, though, is the one little 4-minute clip when Tony Scalzo is preparing to do a song the following week, and he needs to figure out if his camera's going to work. So he's like looking at it, and it's like dad that doesn't understand, not rock star
Can't
dad.
figure out how to like press the go button.
Yeah, he's like, how do I turn it around? Oh, I guess I can't. Okay, I'll just leave it like this. And then he sits down and he's like, here's You're an Ocean. And he just like nails this tune. And it's like before and after, he's just like, dad in his slippers around his house, kind of fuddling around. And in the middle, he's rock star Tony Scalzo. It was awesome. I don't know why we brought that up, but when you got 3 fastball fans here, that's what's going to happen. We warned you.
There was there's so much creativity going on out there with some of these things that I can't decide if it's people suddenly have the time to do it that they never did before, or whether it
needs
really
must when the devil drives, Chuck.
Sorry, Brian?
Needs must when the devil drives. It's one of my favorite phrases. And I mean, like when you are forced, like if you want to be creative, you're going to find a way to be creative. So people, I mean, like necessity being the mother of invention, same kind of thing.
I would find time for this again anytime.
Oh, same.
Well, that's sort of the problem, because you guys have now, A, you've set a standard of excellence, but B, your audience is clamoring for more.
Freeway Jam. Coming soon.
I think we can pick a better tune than that. Well, I think
we
we're
have
allowed
vocals,
to have.
please?
We can have vocals. You asked me that
again. Now everyone knows.
What's that?
We're going to judge them.
Oh no! I have some ideas about how the next one could go, and we could take a different approach. Is all. Not so.
Are we going to rewrite Bob Dylan again?
No. Can we change a line?
Yeah, no, let's not do that. I would like to also point out that Chuck's video was like the pro influencer Instagram super stud star recordings for
I think he worked a lot harder on his video than any of us did, because his stuff is beautiful.
It was great.
It's just really pretty.
Yeah.
Plus, he had someone that actually did camera moves.
Tracks from Chuck, I think.
No, you had a
Different
ton of tracks
angles,
from him.
moving camera, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Wally, that was another question that came up in my mind. Is Chuck was playing outdoors?
Yes.
And so did that? I mean, the lighting looked great. I don't know how much tweaking you had to do to it, but did that add any challenges? Or for that matter, Dave, I can't remember now. Chuck's, all of his was outdoors. So did the outdoor recording have any issues?
So from my standpoint, nothing I got from Chuck was from outdoors. He lip synced all of that outside.
Really?
Oh, you weren't supposed to say that.
All the video from Chuck was just great. There's only one shot that I had to color correct a little bit. It's a low down shot. He had a big sky behind him, so a little bit underexposed, but all the others perfect.
Yeah. I assume Chuck lip synced only because there's a moment where he's singing into the mic and then turns and looks at the camera and nothing about his vocal sound or level changes. I'm like,
That's such a good point.
he's definitely lip synced this. It's fine. Like it's all good.
Let's ask him.
Chuck sent us this great picture too. That what did he call it? His apartment vocal booth or something. He had like a tower, a blanket on his head, with the microphone and everything underneath.
Yeah,
it.
that's right. The tracks were recorded in a temporary house that he was in while he was waiting to move into the house where you saw the video taken from. That's right, because we had the audio tracks way before we had the video from him. Yeah.
I recorded mine right here with this microphone.
There you go.
I turned the lights on and shot video.
That was an interesting part. It's similar to Wally trying to mix together these videos that are shot in different lighting anywhere. I was mixing together, especially the vocals, where trying to make everybody sound like
almost
they had.
Same.
Yeah, they were in the same space vocally. Yeah, it's not going to sound like the same voice. You don't want that. But you want it to sound like it's approached the same from a recording standpoint. And in reality, it was not at all, because we were all doing it ourselves in our homes, or I was lucky enough to have Sky produce me when I was doing the vocals, which made life way easier. But Probably wouldn't have done them if you weren't here anyway. So there you go. But
would have been an instrumental version of Feeling All Right.
yeah, well, no, I mean, my own singing, but we all recorded in different environments, different microphones. Some people added effects to their vocals. Some followed the instructions and gave them to me dry. And so trying to make everybody sound uniform was a trick, and a fun trick.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Make it sound like we recorded in the same studio.
Correct. But it was fun,
It really came out great. I mean, I listened to it critically and I think, you can hardly tell that we recorded it in 7 different locations.
Yeah.
There's a couple places where maybe you can, but for the most part, it sounds like we went in a studio and recorded that track.
That's right. Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
You should be very proud.
Recorded their parts with an iPhone or more than one iPhone.
Yeah.
MacVoices is supported by Smile, the makers of world-class software like Text Expander. Whether you are a team leader or a team member, odds are that you have been, and will be working from a remote location for some time to come. That makes consistency of communication with each other and with your customers more important than ever, but also more difficult than ever. Enter Text Expander. Text Expander from Smile not only saves time and money by automating words, sentences, paragraphs, or pages so that they can be summoned with just a few characters, it also introduces accuracy and consistency. Each time that snippet is used, it is exactly as created the first time. No individual variations, no typos because you got tired of typing the same thing over and over. That means that once deployed to your team, no matter where they are, no matter how often they use it, they will be using that snippet to respond to customer inquiries and creating documents with exactly what you intended, saving them time and making you look great. Invest a few seconds, literally a few seconds, in creating a Text Expander snippet and get paid back every single time you use it. And that can mount up to a lot of payments, since you will be using Text Expander multiple times an hour. Find out just how easy it can be to be more accurate and more productive by visiting smilesoftware.com/podcast right now. Try Text Expander for yourself and see some of the ways that a wide variety of businesses use Text Expander to be better. That's smilesoftware.com/podcast to see what Smile, the makers of world-class software, have to offer you and your business. Thanks to Smile for their ongoing support of MacVoices. Yeah. Wally and I were talking about this pre-show, the fact that, the video is great and it's super enjoyable to watch, but the audio part, I mean, you could just not see the video and just listen to it, and
Absolutely.
It sounds so good.
Marvelous.
Well, we did record, everybody recorded using a direct box, I think. And so the guitars and the basses were clean as hell. And Dave recorded his drums with 7 microphones. He knows what he's doing. 8 microphones.
8 or 9. I can't remember.
Whatever. He knows what he's doing. So all of the tracks were pretty, I won't say professional, but well done. Properly done with no clipping and no weird buzzings and maybe. Wait, Dave texted me and said, "Your vocal is really overdriven, dude." And I'm like, no freaking way.
That was me.
He pressed the button on the tube screamer and he had a guitar effect on my vocal that made me go, rah, rah, rah.
But there were some, we went through every single track isolated and listened for any little noises or whatever and set noise gates to make sure none of that was there. Because with 46 tracks, if you've got a little bit of noise from each of them, it just adds up. And it was funny because I was used to how it sounded. This was about halfway through the process that we did that maybe. And I was used to the mix and it was it sounds like us, which was great. It actually sounds like us. Yeah, exactly. And then I went through and I cleaned each track and like I said, set some noise gates and muted some things like some vocals. There was somebody that was tapping around on their body between lines or whatever. It was let's get that out of there. Let's do this.
Me.
I'm not pointing any fingers.
Brian pointed at himself.
Yeah. but you weren't the only one. There was noise from instruments and things like that. And we just really cleaned it up. And then without changing anything else about the mix, I just played it again. And it was oh my gosh,
Wow.
like it sparkles now because all those things that were sort of in the way are out of the way, and everything can just sort of come to the surface, which was great.
And Logic makes that so easy.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
The
Yeah, thank
rubber
goodness for
bands.
Logic.
The rubber
Thank
bands.
goodness for Logic. It makes life so easy.
Yeah, Dave sent me one of the early drafts of the audio mix so I could get started with the video. So I used that as the audio track for most of my post-production. And then at the very end, he said, "Oh, we have a final mix
Here's
now.
the final
Let me send
mix."
you that." And what a difference between the first version and the final version. So when I substituted that audio track for the one that I had, wow, it just came to life. It was amazing.
It was fun watching the audio track grow and mature. You know, we heard lots of mixes, and every time somebody had everybody, I guess, had comments and feedback, and we'd get a new mix, and it would be, oh yeah, the choruses are much better now.
Yeah.
And it just kept getting better and better. It was great.
Yeah, well, it's easy. You know, it's overwhelming mixing it all together. So you get to points where you're just sort of fatigued, and it's like, that's good enough. Because at some point you have to declare it done. So you know that at some point you're going to say it's good enough and walk away from it, at least for a little while. And that happens not only at the end, but at various stages throughout. So I would get it to a point where it was like, yeah, that's fine. Like I would stop hearing the problems because I was used to them. And it was like, yeah, you forgive a lot. And then I would send the mix out, and like you said, somebody would chime in and be like, you know, the chorus, it sounds like it's a mess. There's too many things all over the place with the vocals. And it's like, yeah, you know what? They're totally right. I gotta go back and like fix that, which was great.
You know what they call that when you send out that mix? It's close enough for rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And any of those mixes were close enough for rock and roll, but there was no reason
But they kept getting better.
But they kept getting better. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and this is for Dave and Wally for the respective parts, or I should say Dave and Skylar and then Wally. But Dave, from how long did it take you from the time you started production, your part of the production, to the finished mix? How many hours were
Oh man. I mean, let's think about it. It's probably 3 different sessions a week on average. It wasn't every day all the time, but there were certainly periods where it was every day. And it was, 1 to 3 hours. So you figure 7 to 8 hours a week times 6 weeks. So 50, 60 hours maybe.
We did this for 6 weeks?
I think it was 6 weeks.
Wow.
I think so. I got to find that message from Terry. And
Gosh, I was done after about 2 hours.
And Wally, for you, how long did the video production part take from when you got the very first video to when you had the final product?
I honestly couldn't tell you, Chuck, maybe a couple of weeks, but when I'm doing a project like this, especially one like this where you just get in the zone, I don't even keep track of time. Usually I'm pretty good about keeping track of time because
when you're billing it.
That's right. but this time it was just pure fun. So time would go by, hours would go by, and I wouldn't even think about it. In fact, I mentioned this to Dave. Dave and Skylar, I'm sure, heard that song about 100 times or more. It just became an earworm, and I was the same. I heard it over and over again, and I would go to bed at night, and I would lie there humming the song or playing the song in my head, and I'd start editing in my head, and I can cut to that shot, I can do this. I couldn't sleep because I was editing all night long.
Yeah. Oh, you get
anyway. I honestly don't know, and it really doesn't matter because I was having so much fun that it just flew by. So maybe a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
So
I had fun.
I looked. Terry's text to me was on April 1st. And it took us a couple of weeks to get started. So figure April 15th. So it was more along the lines of 8 to 10 weeks, not 6 to 8 weeks, believe it or not. It didn't feel like, I mean, it like you said.
I was thinking 3,
yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, what else are you going to do in quarantine?
I was kind of sad it was over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Right.
I love
Yeah.
getting new mixes and then, like putting them on all my devices, listening to them on all my speakers and going, oh, wow, that's wow.
Something
Sounding
Wally said
great.
stuck out to me. Like what he was saying, he always has it stuck in his head. And I was noticing that I was having it stuck in my head, but specifically who was singing each piece. Like I caught myself singing each piece differently based on how the singer for that line sang it. And then like he actually played an outdoor gig recently where they played Feeling All Right. And I caught myself singing along because I didn't really know the words to this song 10 weeks ago. And now it's just like ingrained in my brain. But again, it was like slightly different since this version we've been listening to is 7 different singers. So it was so funny to just hear you
that
sing.
gig was the night before we released this. So it was very much in my head. And we had no intention of playing that tune. But some little kid came up. It was an outdoor gig. Literally, we were in the end zone of a football field. So people had plenty of room to be socially distant and all that
I
stuff.
think I saw pictures of that.
Yeah. And this little kid came up, close but not too close to the stage to request a song. And he requested Dear Mr. Fantasy, which shocked me for a kid of like 8 years old or something like that. And we all looked at each other. This was an acoustic gig, mind you. And we looked at each other like, I don't think so.
We know another Traffic song.
Well, that was it. Is our guitar player was like, we know another Traffic song. And Skylar was at the gig in the crowd, like she said, and we looked at each other like, I can't believe this. We can't get away from this too.
It's following us.
It's following us.
Fortunately, that one has 2 chords.
Yeah. Oh no, I
Everybody
knew.
knows it.
As soon as he requested Dear Mr. Fantasy, I knew what was going to happen. Like I knew where we were going immediately.
And the best part is, that 8-year-old was insanely disappointed.
Right.
He didn't know that song.
But his mom loved
for a
it.
Reason.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Exactly. Yeah, people loved it. That's fine. Just a little bit of PTSD. Pre-TSD.
Skylar, I want to know, you've just said, I think I heard you say that before this you hadn't even touched Logic.
Yeah.
Okay. So why? I mean, are you interested in music production, or was this just something to kill quarantine time? Because it sounds like you definitely had a pretty heavy hand. You were there for a lot of the work, and that's no small thing. So why?
I was a musician like all throughout middle school and high school, and then kind of still, I guess not really, but so I've always had like an interest in the music side of things. So we've always kind of bonded over that. And I guess I was helping with the fling stuff first.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier. So it kind of more started as like, hey, I need help with this, and you have nothing to do because you're stuck in the house.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, okay, but then it was like, when are we going to go back over to the studio? Like I honestly really started to enjoy it. And like I said, I was sad when it was over, and like I definitely have more interest in the music production side of things now. So yeah, it was really fun.
All right, that seals the deal. We're doing
You knew
another song.
GarageBand coming into this.
I'm pretty comfortable with GarageBand. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, GarageBand for Dummies 2nd edition comes out next month.
And there's the plug.
There's a plug.
That's
There's
Come
a plug.
on.
Good job, Bob.
I
Good
held
job.
it back for this long.
Good job. Good job. Guys, this has been a lot of fun and really interesting. And, one of the reasons I was obviously excited to have this group on to talk about this project, but I also know this much about the production side. And I see people, putting videos up on Facebook, and some, like the Stones, are very professionally done, and others are just slapped together. And even the slapped together ones, I don't think folks have any concept of what it takes to put this together. So that's why I was excited to hear some of the behind the scenes stuff and how you approached it and why you did what you did. So very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Chuck.
thanks for having us.
This was the first for all of us. I had never done anything quite like that before, and I'm sure all 7 of the musicians hadn't done a recording like that in isolation before. And Dave and Skylar with the Logic project, all of this was new. So really, it's quite amazing how it all came together.
I think it was really good for all of us. Like I know, like if nothing else, mentally, just having something to like learn about. Like, we were learning together
Oh,
for a lot of
totally.
this.
Yeah.
Like, obviously
Yeah.
Dave knows more about it than I do, but like learning, it was like, it was a lot for our minds, which in quarantine, like that's what we're always trying to do, is like keep busy. So this was something that was keeping us busy, but it also was like so much
It was
fun.
productive and fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we were feeling fulfilled,
Yeah.
which is hard, like these times that you're not really doing much. But
Even the parts where we would be like, all right, we have a problem to fix. Let's try this solution. And 90 minutes later is like, let's scrap that solution. You know, like, I mean, that's a learning experience, right? Like, and productive and all of that. So it's like, we had to try it and find out that wasn't the right path to take. We got to back out and go the other way.
fortunately, we've had nothing but time.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing.
All right, let's start song selection now.
Yeah, I'd like it. So
We failed at song selection the first time, Bob. I'm just going to point that out. Somebody had to swing the hammer, and that somebody
I can't
was me.
help it that you guys don't like the Ramones.
The Ramones are fine. I love the Ramones. I don't think that's the right.
Not for a pandemic.
Let's
See
let's
what we-
not, let's
see
not
what we
air our
mean?
dirty laundry.
See what we mean about song selection being the hardest part of this?
so is this something we should throw out for feedback to the audience? And
Sure.
And
Yeah,
get
we'll
them-
take
okay, so-
requests.
okay,
Evidently,
folks,
we
so-
take requests
Hey,
because we did
let's
this whole
try.
project.
Let's try singing live.
Oh,
I
no.
love the look on your
Whoa.
face, Dave.
Wow.
It was worth it.
It doesn't work. We've tried. There's too much latency. It sucks.
Barbershop Quartet.
Ugh.
Hello.
Ever since my baby left me.
I think I heard harmony right there.
I'm in this place to dwell.
Same key, I think.
Same key, same key.
Almost.
Barbershop raga.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hold
man.
on. Let me turn on auto tune.
Please don't. Please don't.
I
Wait,
can't. I don't have the technical stuff.
Oh, good. Good. That's fine.
goodness.
That's
I
fine.
need some Rogue Amoeba stuff, I think.
Mm. Okay, we'll leave it there. There's another plug. Thank you, Bob.
Hey, I don't have that stuff, but I know that it would let me play that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and send it out.
Thanks
to
for having
Zoom.
us, Chuck.
Yeah, Brian. Well, hey,
We
before
never
we go,
said we weren't geeks. I mean, like, but seriously, like, this would not work. Having 11 cameras mixed at a random rock and roll gig would not happen if everybody involved wasn't a geek. And that's sort of the beauty of this is, you know, the band happened because we were all geeks and happened to be at this conference together. This video project happened because we're musicians and creative people that also happen to be geeks, and we were able to put it all together and make it happen. So it's pretty cool.
no, that's a real good point. And it just goes to show you, you start a project, sometime you never know where it's going to take you. This project started how many years ago with the Macworld All-Star Band?
What year did
2000?
we start?
Wasn't it?
2000?
Was it? It was.
When did
It
we?
would have been 2001.
New York?
I was thinking it was 2001.
2001.
Yeah, yeah, it was early 2001 or mid 2001. That's correct. The Cooler, New York, July 2001. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
I want to go around and just let everybody know where they can find your stuff, and because most folks know you from the tech part. This way, they know you now from the musician part or the mixture thereof. So I'm going to take it as you're on my screen right now. Brian, how about you? Where should folks find you or connect with you if they want to make song nominations?
Song nominations. Let's go to Twitter at TMO Bryan, Bryan.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Chuck. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, Dave and Skylar.
You can find me on Twitter at Dave Hamilton. So that's a great place to make your song suggestions.
That's my wife, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
She's my hero. She's a nurse.
Hey, Lisa.
She just
Hey.
got home from a 12-hour shift
Wow.
at the COVID factory.
Yeah.
Salute.
I know. I'm not
Round-
worthy.
Round of applause for her. I don't know how you got that lucky, Bob.
Welcome home, honey.
Wayne, where can folks find you?
I think they could just find the other guys and they'll tell me.
Just look for Root Boy on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, good luck.
So Duane is remaining anonymous. Okay. Bob, where you've already done a bunch of plugs, but we'll do another one. Where can folks find you?
The Mac Observer. I write a weekly column called Dr. Mac's Rants and Raves, in which I rant or rave weekly.
You rant and rave strongly, Bob. Give yourself more credit than that.
No, every week I rant strongly or rave. Very nice, Dave.
Nice.
Wordplay is a big thing with writers. And I also write for the Houston Chronicle, and I'm working on new editions of, Big Sur for Dummies and iPhone for Dummies, 14th edition.
Wow.
Those will be out this fall.
Like iPad for Dummies,
notwithstanding.
iPad for Dummies, 11th edition.
Oh yes, and which Bryan co-wrote. It's coming out in September. Also, I should have plugged that, but I forgot all about it because you did all the work.
Wally?
You can find me every month in Screencast Online magazine. And if you go to my YouTube channel, we talked about Cirque du Mac and all those videos from previous performances. They're all there on the YouTube channel. In fact, you can see a total of 3 different versions of Feeling All Right. So, and it might give you some ideas for future songs for the band to play.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, go check that. Pick a song we know. Then it might actually sound good. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. And I'll make sure that I have
what.
links in the show notes, especially to Wally's
focus.
YouTube channel. But yeah. Oh, and Skylar, Dave kind of stole your thunder there. Do you have any place you want to plug, or do you prefer to remain anonymous?
It'll just go to Dave. I'm sure I'll hear about it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Sounds good. Hey guys, thank you so much. Each and every one of you, and thank you for what a wonderful gift you gave to the Apple community in this video. It really, really means a lot. I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. It means a lot to all of us. We want to see you guys get back together and play live, but this was the next best thing.
The farewell tour is still not off the table.
Agreed.
We'll leave it there.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having us, Chuck.
Thank you.
This was fun.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
All right, let's do another song.
Yeah. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices Live. You will catch this in the feeds because I will have an edited version out. But if you joined us live, thank you so much. We'll be back next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. With something a little more normal where you'll be able to join in. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. And everybody's doing happy hands.
Jazz hands.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.
I meant to say it during the thing. One interesting thing is this is the first time we've chatted interactively. This entire thing happened via iMessage.
Yes.
Yeah. It didn't even hit me.
You know what? I know. Now that you think of it, we should have probably had one of these for fun.
We should have. Yeah. Wally and I had that one chat, but otherwise it was all just iMessage or email or whatever.
Well, I tried to get Rick Astley to join us.